Canada. And I say this all the time to people, like, I don't need to be here, right? But I choose to be here because I see potential in this country. I see potential in the fashion industry here. So it wouldn't look right for me to complain so much about Canadian fashion and not try to somewhat change it, hence why we have these things such as this campaign going on. So what is your, what are all of your opinions? Would you remain here and fight for what you love, your creativity, your career, or would you take that chance to go somewhere else and try to live your dream outside of home?
I definitely want to stay in Canada, but unfortunately getting a good success in the fashion industry in Canada, anywhere in Canada, is very difficult. So after 5-10 years there's still no success, then yeah, definitely moving to Europe, and I would want to move to Europe and just kind of work there and stuff.
For me, believe it or not, I want to stay in Ottawa. I want to make Ottawa known as one of Canada's fashion cities, and eventually, obviously after establishing myself and my brand, eventually I would like to move out and explore, but for now I would love to stay in Ottawa.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what these leaders are saying here. I'm a journalism student wanting to go into fashion publishing. So for me, this being part of Canadian Fashion Weekend and doing things like this is one of the only opportunities I would get to experience the real industry ever. And I searched for this one. So it's harder here for sure. It's harder finding those opportunities and getting that experience that everyone expects you to have going into the workforce. But at the end of the day, I think we've worked too hard here to stop now, so.
And is it time for the Canadian industry to unite? Because obviously we see that the whole industry is crumbling down, city after city. They're losing their fashion weeks, and we have a new prime minister now who is willing to take in what we have to say and willing to change. I think personally for me, I think that the main problem in Canada is that everyone's so separated, like Toronto with Toronto, Montreal with Montreal, Ottawa with Ottawa, Vancouver and Calgary. Is it not time for us to come together under one hub, which could be this national council?
Yeah, I definitely agree. We definitely need to unite. And like we were saying too, like between designers and stylists and bloggers, it's hard to find each other because unless you have somebody who can recommend kind of word of mouth, there's a person here for that can help you out. There's really no way for me to just go and see all of the stylists available. So I think uniting the whole nation with the fashion industry, it will help us get more exposure across the nation, and it'll help us be able to collaborate and network a lot more and have more success for all of us through that.
I think it's definitely time for us to all unite, like you were saying. With one person, it's not going to happen, but if we all get together, we will succeed, and there will be lots of collaborations. We will get recognized internationally instead of just staying in Canada.
I also think that the fact of the matter is that often in this industry we feel like we're alone and that nobody else wants to do what we want to do. Nobody else is in this industry, nobody else cares about this. At the end of the day, look around this room, there's all these people who care about this industry, who want to see it thrive. And I think that we have to remember that we're not the only ones who care about this.
So, as some of you may not know, as Megan had mentioned earlier, in the States they have the CFDA, which is the Council of Fashion Designers of America, and in Britain and France and any other country that has an established fashion industry. And their main goal is to always prepare the next generation of fashion innovators, fashion designers, and they have a lot of sponsorships and grants, like we were mentioning. So, I wanted to ask you guys, enough complaining, right? So we got all of our anger out, we got everything out. So now it's time for us to stop complaining and, come up with solutions, right? What do we want? If the government is actually willing to listen to us, we have to present them solutions. So what are these solutions? What do we want from them? What kind of programs do we want? What kind of support do we want? What kind of grants or scholarships do we want?
The big thing right now for me is manufacturing. There are manufacturing houses across Canada. nothing in Ottawa, and that's another way to build up the fashion industry as well. So definitely introducing more in-house or Canadian manufacturing, but just being able to meet more people across the nation in your industry and just being able to network more. And even boutique owners, they want new designers in their stores all the time, but it's hard for us, instead of having all the buyers from these stores come in and talk to us, we almost have to kind of go to each one on our own. So the Uniting will definitely help us out, and it'll be able for all of us to network again.
I think for me, the biggest thing is just experiences for students. Like I said before, there's literally nothing for me. I think that there's maybe a few programs, even in Ontario, that are somewhat suitable for like the publishing side of the fashion industry, which basically doesn't exist. It sounds like a super cliche teenage girl job to want to do, but it's what I want to do, and there's no one here providing it for me. So I think that that's definitely something that needs to happen under that council for sure.
For me, it would need to bring back all the fashion weeks, especially in Ottawa. I feel like it would be good for the buyers to come in, and I believe that Ottawa has a lot of talent. Believe it or not, before I joined the industry, I had no idea that there was a lot of photographers, bloggers, and then it wasn't until I decided to become a fashion blogger, I noticed, oh my gosh, like Ottawa has a lot of hidden talent. So I feel like with Fashion Weeks, it allows everyone to come in together and, you know, network, and photographers to meet each other. So definitely bring back all the Fashion Weeks.
I was once reading an article that was written by a fashion journalist, just like Megan, and the title was "Reasons Why the Canadian Fashion Industry is Not Thriving," and it will not thrive unless we see some serious change. And one thing that she mentioned was that when she was studying design in France, she can go to any other designer, ask for help, ask for tips, and you know, they would help her out. And then she said when she came back to Canada, it was the opposite. You know, nobody wanted to help her. Other designers didn't want to collaborate. Other designers didn't want to kind of work together because everyone is in total competition and they feel like everyone's going to take something from them. No one wants to share ideas. No one wants to collaborate. And, you know, so how can we take away that kind of that spirit of being alone and clingy and not wanting to kind of unite? Because what's that saying? You know, united we're better, and you know, not united we're not better, right? So what are ways that we can kind of take that mentality away and allow people to, you know, work together and say that yes, it's okay for us to both be designers and both be bloggers and still be friends?
Okay, so the biggest one for that is, again, the funding. So as a designer for myself, I don't really want to promote. I love promoting my friends, but it's hurting my business because I have 50 people and I'm promoting to each one of them, myself and my like the other designers. Only fraction of that is actually going to go to my customers. So when we're all kind of paying and funding ourselves out of our own pocket, we don't really want to share the wealth until we become very wealthy. And with the council, we'll basically, it's kind of like a group funding. So we'll be able to, when I have success, I'll pay back to the council so that the future designers can also get part of the funding as well that I got. And I think that it's changing now because I noticed a lot when I was in school, our generation wants to collaborate. We're realizing that if we don't do something, if we don't work together, if we don't find each other, that we are going to crumble in the industry. And like I think even like bloggers, like everybody's just really into collaborating, everybody wants to meet each other, and we are being very supportive. At the end of the day, everybody's doing work for free. We do it because we love it. We do want to make something up out of ourselves. And we do understand that when we're working with models or photographers, most of the time it is out of their own pocket again, so we kind of want to pay the favor back. So right now with our generation, that is changing a bit. So it's getting better.
For me, it would need to be remain humble always, and don't think that you're the best because everyone else, there's like a billion other bloggers in the city. So just remain humble, reach out to other bloggers and just work together, collaborate together, instead of just thinking that you're the best and you're too good for anyone else. So just my advice would be to remain humble and accept when others reach out to you.